Okay, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm today's host, Fog. And so today we're gonna have two parts into this meeting. So first, Da will give a brief introduction to the release v1.6 Alpha 3 and v1.5.6. And after that, he will also give our recent plan for v1.6. So Da, are you ready to share your screen?
Wait several seconds. Okay, I'm ready to share my screen. Yeah, can you see my screen? It should be the Chrome page. Yeah. Okay, so let's start for today's community meeting. And today I would like to introduce two topics. The first one is a brief introduction to the latest release of KubeVela, including two versions. One is the 1.5.6, which is the which should be the latest stable version. And we also have the version 1.6.0 Alpha 0.3, which is a pre-release for the next major version we would like to release in about next month. Yeah, and also for the second part, I would like to introduce some recent plan for KubeVela version 1.6.0. Where we would like to introduce some new features. For example, the logging mechanism for the observability parts, and also the pipeline, which will be introduced in Vela UX, which is a new thing other than the application. And also we will have some upgrade stability and performance related some issues we would like to address in version 1.6.0. So generally, this is the overview of today's community meeting. And let's start for the release introduction. And today we have just released the version 1.6.0 Alpha 0.3. And generally in version 1.6, we would like to have some upgrade for the QLang version we used in KubeVela. So previously we used 0.2.2 for QLang. And this there has been a long way for us to upgrade from the 0.2 to 0.4 in Q. And we are expecting that there will be some definition upgrade compatibility issues we would like to address in this large version upgrade. So we are still testing and make sure that users can upgrade KubeVela from 1.5 to 1.6 without modifying too much things, even if the Q version have a lot of incompatibility issues. So this is what we are currently looking into for most of the time. And besides, we are also trying to do some simple deprecation, and also there are some minor feature changes, like some of the Velatop commands. There are some new feature introduced in this pretty cool CLI command, where you can monitor the KubeVela system pretty easy in your terminal. And also there are some further enhancements. For example, we have did some bug fixes, including some compatibility issues for resource tracker, where the structure of the resource tracker have been changed from 1.4 to 1.5, and there are some compatibility issues which will cause your application to misdelete some cluster scoped resources. And also we have fixed another bug which will cause the application to rerun when the Vela core controller is facing an upgrade. We have observed that issue recently, which will cause the upgrade for the Vela core controller pretty flaky. And after the fix in 1.5.6, this stable version, and also 1.6.0 in Alpha 0.3 version, and this bug is fixed so that we expect that when you upgrade your KubeVela controller, your application, those that have been succeeded, that is to say, these applications have entered into the running phase, and all the resources have been dispatched. The application during the upgrade process is expected to not change anymore, which means that all the succeeded application will remain all the same. So this is what we want to keep in the new bug fixed version. Okay, so besides, we have also some like fixes. For example, we add some cluster selector, which helps you to select non-control plane clusters, which means previously we can select all clusters if you do not give any concrete parameters for the cluster label selector. But now you can selectively to choose to only pick those clusters that are managed clusters aside by the hub control plane cluster, so that you can better manage your working clusters, because some of you might only use the hub cluster as the control plane instead of running any workload. So these are some feature changes, and we have addressed in this latest version. And let's go to the next part. So the next part is some plan for the version 1.6. And one of the big things we are planning and working on is another important part for the observability system. So if you have tried the observability system in version 1.5 in KubeVela, you will see that there are Grafana and Prometheus and some metric exporters, which allows you to monitor metrics through the architecture we provided. But some of the another very important thing is the logging part. For example, in your Kubernetes system, you might need to monitor all the logs of your pod, and so that you can see what happens inside those pods, especially for those pods that are not running correctly. And also you might need to do some log filter and transform, which will help you to focus on some error logs, for example, the access log of the engines or the other Java application. So one of the things we would like to do in KubeVela 1.6 is to introduce the logging add-on. The logging add-on we would like to introduce is based on this architecture. It is also focused on the multi-cluster architecture as well. Also, you can also use it in a single cluster as well. So generally, we focus on the Grafana Loki components in the hub control plane as the storage for the collected logs. And we use vector sidecar or Promtail sidecar. There will be an alternative choice between them to collect logs from pods. For pods that store logs in their local files, we will use the sidecar pattern to collect logs. But for these SDD out logs, we will use the daemon set mode to collect logs. And those collected logs will be uploaded to the Grafana Loki and for the storage part. And also the Grafana Loki also provide query interface for API to query the logs, so that you can from the Grafana dashboard to see those logs. And we will also add some dashboard in the Grafana so that you can directly see those internal logs from the Loki storage. Yeah, and this is what we will do for the observability logging part. And I would like to also mention that because the logging parts in Kubernetes is pretty tricky. For example, you need to manage those configurations across different across different applications in one aggregated config file. For example, in the vector daemon set mode, you will use only one config file to monitor all the ports and their std out. So it will be pretty hard to divide those config into different parts for application focused. So aside by the the vector daemon set and the graph log key, we are also trying to invent some operator like Prometheus operator, which will help you to convert single units log config into the aggregated vector config. So which will help you to manage the application level log config better. And this we will try to enhance the user experience, and the controller part we have not decided whether it will be open source or for commercial use. But generally, we will provide some solution for you so that you can manage your application logs better. Another feature in version 1.6 is that we will have a pipeline other than the application part in Vela UX. So the pipeline part, which I think Fog has previously introduced in last community meeting, is that you know that in Kubera application, we have the workflow part to orchestrate the process of dispatching resource and like notifications and other operations you like to done. But the application workflow is bound to the application part, and we separate the workflow part into another custom resource called workflow run, which can be run outside the application, and it has it does not need to have a close bond with the application. And so that in Vela UX, we would also like to expose the workflow run part so that user can manage the workflow run through the UI interface better. So this part, we would like to call it a pipeline. Generally, this one is expected to manage multiple applications and other operations together. So we would like to generally it can be treated as an exposure of KubeVela workflow run in Vela UX. And besides, we will have some upgrade parts. Aside by the QLang upgrade, we will also try to upgrade the underlying Go version from 1.17 to 1.19, which is expected to have better performance. And we will also focus on the upgrades experience, so that we will try to keep all the applications that have been successfully deployed to remain the same, even if the upgrade parts might have introduced some new bugs. But we will try to keep all the old applications safe and stable. So this is what we will focus in the next. I think it will be focused on for the next 4 weeks. And the version 1.6 is expected to be officially released at the end of October. Okay, so I see there are some, yeah. Okay, so Jianbo has posted another message in the community meeting chat box, is that we are currently collecting some information for our users who has adopted KubeVela in their production or test environment, so that we can better plan the new features where we would like to go for next several versions. Because different companies and different users have different intention for the KubeVela development. Yeah, so that's all for what I want to introduce for today's community meeting. So if there is any question for that, please just go ahead. So for the first part, the version upgrades for recent progress, we have officially released those versions on our KubeVela repo. So if you have more questions for the detailed features, you can refer to the release notes and see what pull request we have introduced in this version change. Yeah. And also, if you have some ideas for what version 1.6 would be like, you can also just raise your ideas here.
Hey, Da, I have a general question, not specific to these releases that you talked about. I can wait or
Okay.
I can ask.
Okay. You can ask anything, even if it is not related with today's topic. Any bug or any KubeVela use questions, it is open to ask here.
Okay, sounds good, Da. Thanks. This is more of a security question. And again, we use Kubera and we continuously try to upgrade. How do you see the vulnerabilities on the Kubera itself? CVEs, do you use any specific tool? And when you release versions, do you consistently review against them and ensure new versions are vulnerabilities clean?
Yeah, so there are several things for the security part. So one of the things is how user could use KubeVela, and another thing is how we maintain our KubeVela repo. So I think what you have just asked is focusing on the later part, right? So how we manage code vulnerabilities. So we have introduced some continuous integration tools like SYNK sync and also there are some other Golang linked check to help us to diagnose the dependency CVEs and also our Golang code potential issues. For example, the Golang CI linked. This tool will help to check a lot of potentially insecure written style of Golang code. For example, if you try to directly open some file through some variable, it will give you some warning. And the continuous integration settings in KubeVela's main repository, it will prevent all the pull requests that does not conform to the requirements we set, so that we from this part we can make sure that all the pull requests, even from the community members or other people, they will have a safeguard to filter out some potential issues. And for the dependency part, we also have the dependency check, which I think is from the sync part, the sync tool. So it will, if there is any like the go mode change, it will detect those changed versions if there is any recorded CVE problems with that, so that we will try to always keep up with the latest CVE reports and make sure that first, there must not be any critical CVEs, any reported critical CVEs to be included in our released version. And for the high risk CVEs, we will try to fix them as fast as possible. So this part, so generally we use some automatic tools to help you to find out the potential risks in our code and dependencies so that we can fix them. So this is what we have done for the code part for the security things.
Thanks, Doug. That's a great explanation. One additive question.
Okay.
So our security expectation is critical, no critical and no high. Maybe that's I don't know if it's a high bar. So how do you, any suggestions for us? I know currently we are, as we upgrade, and if we find any high, we probably ping you guys and we work with you. And I appreciate that, you try to fix them as fast as you can. Is there anything in your roadmap where you are planning to, set the bar a bit more higher, that, no critical and no high? I don't know how practical it can be, but just want to hear your thought.
So if there is some community member, you find out there are some critical issues, or we found something in our issues, we will look into it with high priority. So if you find out something that expect the KubeVela team to help you to fix in KubeVela's project, we will you can just raise an issue and we will look into it in 1 or 2 days. It will be fixed very fast. And for automatic tools, there will be the integration tool for to send us notifications, and it will be run day by day, so that if there is any, for example, some of the dependencies might not have observed high-risk CVEs currently, but maybe tomorrow, some members reported there is a CVE in the version and it should be upgraded. Then we will the CI tools will tell us that there is a new critical CVE and we should fix it, so that we will look into it. So if you try to integrate KubeVela in your own project, so that KubeVela might itself be a dependency CVE for your own project, then if you find anyone that blocks you, you can also raise the issues in KubeVela's repo and we will fix it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Doug.
Okay. It's glad to see that the community members are looking into the CVE problems, so that the KubeVela project can be more secure. And also one of the not only for the user part, and because some of the companies are using KubeVela in their production environment, so the CVE problems are also critical for them, especially for those ones who are keeping updates with the latest KubeVela version. So the security issue is really something that we are very we must need to keep up with the latest things and make sure that everything we can do to be done, so that the KubeVela project is secure. And also, I would also like to add something that I remember that the CI tools we have integrated in KubeVela's repo, not only for the sync parts, which will check the dependency, the Go module part, and also we have some code QR analysis, which I think is provided by the GitHub itself, and it will scan the, I think it will scan the built image, and so that after the KubeVela Golang code is checked, after it is packaged into Docker image, the Docker image will also be scanned as well. So if there is anything from the Docker image side have something insecure, it will also be reported.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Is there any further questions? Yeah, Jianbo has said that if there is any critical issues you found that are not public reported, you can also send this issue through the email address, which Jianbo has just posted in the chat box, and so that we can fix it before it is officially released publicly.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any further questions? If there is no questions for now, if you encountered any questions, you can just post it on the Slack channel or the GitHub issue page. Yeah, we are welcome for your response. Okay, I
Okay,
think that's all
yeah.
for today's meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no other questions, we can, that's all of our meetings today. So thanks all of you to join us today, and the record of the video will be uploaded to YouTube channel after the meeting's over. Okay, so bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.